Hello, I'm Evan Lawson. I'm the Artistic Director of Forest Collective, and today I'm joined by Rosemary Ball, who's one of our core performing artists, who's presenting a recital this Sunday, the 18th of August, Shared Songs. That performance will be occurring at Stones of the Yarra Valley, and it'll be at 11 a.m. this Sunday. So, hi Rosie.
Hello Evan.
So we might just kick things off by, if you want to talk us through the program.
I certainly can. So the concert is focused on German lieder and French art song. It's a beautiful and relaxed way to enjoy a Sunday morning, but we are including two really popular Puccini arias just to please the crowd and to get everyone...
Old favourites.
Old favourites, that's it exactly. So we'll be doing some lieder by Strauss and Grieg and two beautiful French songs by Liszt.
Wonderful. And Stones of the Yarra Valley is a wonderful restaurant performance venue, isn't it? So we can enjoy some lunch afterwards.
Enjoy a delicious lunch afterwards, prepared by the team at Stones of the Yarra Valley. And it's in a beautiful rustic setting, both with the chapel that they've purpose-built on the property, and they've got two other venues there which they use for restaurants, which are the stables and the barn. So it will be a really nice way to spend a cold, wintry, but enchanting Sunday morning up in Coldstream.
Bit of music, bit of lunch.
Exactly.
Now, it's a pretty special performance for you, not only presenting a whole hour recital, but also it's a part of quite a wonderful opportunity from Stones of the Yarra Valley.
Exactly.
Do you want to maybe talk about that a little bit?
Sure. So this year I'm supported through a cultural sponsorship which was awarded to me by Stones of the Yarra Valley at the beginning of the year. It was a new initiative by the team there of Steve and Vonnie Fraser to really allow for creative career aspirants to pursue their career endeavours at this point in their path. And so they've awarded 5 sponsorships, all to young women, all musicians. I'm the only classical singer. There are 2 contemporary singers, 1 pianist/composer, and a classical cellist as well. So that sponsorship has really enabled me to put funding and in areas that I perhaps wasn't able to last year, given the expense that's involved with pursuing a creative career. That's allowed me to go to Sydney quite often this year to work with a repetiteur. I've been able to focus on languages as a really big part of my development this year.
Great.
And then what's really nice about the sponsorship is that I get to perform at Stones, and it ties in really nicely, and it's not just always a wonderful opportunity to perform. So I'll be doing the Shared Songs presented by Forest Collective this coming Sunday, and then again in August. Again later in September. On the 27th of September, I'll be featured as part of a concert with the Opera Scholars Australia
wonderful
program. So a fantastic initiative by the team at Stones, who have really opened up a funding area that is difficult to find in Australia.
Nurturing young artists, it's a very tricky endeavour, and I think it takes a lot of courage.
It absolutely does, and generosity, especially if it's a privately funded support.
So thank you to them.
Thank you very much.
Now, moving in a similar vein, I guess, sort of one of my passions and reasons for administering and putting all the work into running the collective is to provide people with performance opportunities. And so I guess this is your first year, this will be your third Forest performance, and you're involved in our whole season this year. How has that helped you? Because it's might not be the most financially rewarding experience, but in terms of the being involved, how have you found with Forest Collective?
So it's not about money ever, I think for most creative people it's about the art form and the passion and the need to perform. But absolutely, being able to perform is one of the things that you really miss if you are training quite hard like we do. You often find yourself doing competitions, or you're doing intensive preparation for something, and it's really lovely just to be able to perform in a usually relaxed setting, but to be able to perform and refine your craft in that way. And my teacher actually recently commented that the development I've made this year thus far is purely because of the performing opportunities I've had. They've been essentially things to work towards, because when you're working privately on areas that singers do, but also just instrumentalists, it's really hard to measure your development. And when you have something, a focus point spread throughout the year like I have with the Forest Collective performances, it's really enabled me to gain that momentum that I need to get to that level of performance that's required.
And especially the 4 contrasting shows. Like you've got one where it's a contemporary music
concert. You threw me in the deep end at the start of the year for the first time ever.
Oh, you nailed it.
For the first time ever, I was confronted, but happily confronted with a modern, new classical work
which Evan
had composed. So for me, that was a huge learning curve and a really big challenge for me, just musically and mentally and everything. It was nothing like I'd ever worked on. And
hopefully
I took it to my teacher Merlin and said, I don't know how to do this. It's so hard, and it's foreign to me. And we essentially worked on that for a month. That is all we did for a month in my lessons and in my coachings with David. That is what I focused on, and having that really steel-eyed focus on something meant that it got to a level that I probably wouldn't have had if I had been so, not filled with fear, but, it was a new thing for me.
And also approaching it by itself as well. And then that just informs your overall artistry. Yeah.
And so it's really important for young performers to perform, because we're not obviously given the opportunity. We can perform in competitions like a lot of singers do, but that's in a different atmosphere. You're nervous, you've got a judgment
and you're
coming
also
to you.
Generally doing one song.
You're doing one song.
You're not doing a full program, you're not presenting a recital, or you also, your audience might be quite familiar.
Exactly. So what's really lovely about being able to be involved with Forest is that new audience that I'm being in front of, that is getting to know me, and I'm getting to know them as a new audience, and really just enjoying performing for people who are there because they love music or they love theatre pieces. So it's been a fantastic year that you and Forest Collective have allowed me to be involved in, and it's meant great gains in all sorts of my development, but it's been really, I suppose, invaluable in terms of this year and what I've been doing.
Good to know I'm onto something good. I guess along that, I'd just be interested very quickly to know of our last performance, Shared Lines, and what you felt as a performing artist and very much doing a straight performance, being involved in this sort of big theatrical event that we had, this sort of world that we created. How did you feel that you fitted into that, and what was sort of your reaction?
Sure. Well, for those who weren't fortunate enough to come along to Shared Lines, it was, as Evan said, a multi-arc theatrical piece, basically, and you're invited into the decrepit, rambling walls of the Resina Auditorium at Abbotsford Comet, and the event opened with a wonderfully arranged by Evan chamber ensemble piece of Franz Liszt's Au Conge d'Or. So that was what I was singing on the night, and it really, I felt, was a great way to set the mood for the rest of the performance, which then followed into a theatre piece with some dance, music still playing in the background, and then a fantastic play written by one of the Forest members, Stephanie.
Stephanie Oestreicher, who's also presenting quite a number of work with us next year, which will be announced later this year, and also we'll be working on our opera at the end of this year, which Rosie will also be performing in. Yes. Which is that other big, exciting event.
So in terms of what I felt my role, I suppose, I felt it was quite an important role to set the mood for that adventure that the audience were set to take for walking through and experiencing that space and the theatre piece that we were presenting.
And I think it was what I loved is that people came in and they were like, oh, wonderful, soprano and a beautiful song and lovely, and then the whole performance was flipped on its head. And everyone was then escorted into other rooms, and the performance sort of continued from there.
And it was funny watching them come and sit down and think, okay, I'm facing the stage, and then all of a sudden, it's happening over here. Where do I look? That kind of thing. So it's very cool to be involved in something that does, challenge what the audience is, their expectations, and what they feel that a performance put on by Forest would entail. And it's, again, just been immeasurable in the opportunity that it presents to work with other young creative types
outside of music, which is great.
You do get stuck in your little world, and so it's really nice to work with other musicians as well that I perhaps haven't worked with, and then the theatre people, the dancers, the artists who've done some visual art, that kind of thing. So it's great to be part of a collaborative team. Yeah,
definitely. Well, we should move on probably quickly to back to Shared Songs. So David McNichol, who quite a prominent accompanist in Melbourne, you've been working with him for quite some time.
Yes. David and I have been working together for nearly over 6 years, which is a long relationship for me. And we started working together towards the end of my first year whilst I was studying at Victorian College of the Arts. So in 2007. So I went to him at the suggestion of my then teacher Roxanne Hislop that you know, it'd be really good just to work with someone who she was working with as a vocal coach, just to really add layers. Like you need to with singing and any musical endeavour, you know, you need, like an onion, you need to add the layers, and as you develop, you know, there's lots of different things, and it's always really useful to have another set of ears.
And mentorship, very experienced, very knowledgeable mentorship.
So David and I started working together, and weekly or fortnightly, that kind of thing, and we'd be working on my repertoire for that year at uni. And then fortunately he was able to play in my recitals for second and third year at College of the Arts, which was really fantastic, because the rapport you build up with someone like that, it can get, you feel very strange if you're not then performing with them, and you go into the setting like a recital, an exam, that kind of thing. So it was of great comfort to have him there for my second and final year recital, and it's meant that our relationship has really cemented over the years we've worked together, and it's just a joy that we can present this performance together coming up on Sunday. We've done various things throughout the year, but it's really nice that we still collaborate. And we've got this concert coming up, and it's always, we have many great laughs when we rehearse and that kind of thing. So it's been, I'm so glad Roxanne said, off you go, you know, go to get someone else's ears, you know, see what they think. And I just feel 100% comfortable when I perform with David, which, as any musician knows, is part of the challenge when you are performing. You don't want to feel like you're left out there, you know, without someone helping or holding on. So it's just a joy to play music and perform music with David.
That's very exciting. Well, finally, I think we should probably just wrap up the details again for this Sunday. So we're looking at August the 18th at Stones of the Yarra Valley. All the details are on our website, which is www.forestcollective.com.au. You'll be seeing Rosie and David. David will be performing some solo pieces as well as a part of the program. So come by, stay for a drink, and hopefully we'll see you for lunch on Sunday.
Fantastic. See you then.